All right, we're live. Cool.
Are we live like right now as we're talking?
We're live at this exact moment, boys.
I do this every time we go live. I ask this question.
Yep, we are now.
All right, there we go.
We're live. This is fun.
All right, welcome in, everyone.
I think eventually we'd have this down to like a science.
Yeah, probably never.
At some point.
Well, we'll let some people join in here, but welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you all enjoyed this morning's video. We're just 12 short days away from from the season opener. I know Brandon found a fun fact that he wanted to start off with. You want to share?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a fun fact. I happened to hop on Twitter before we went live officially, and I don't know how many of you guys have seen this yet, but Thibodeau was a 3-star tackle out of that Washington State area, has now got his 4th star composite-wise on 24/7. So he is another 4-star to the class. And as Brum mentioned, this is unrelated to Thibodeau, Derek LeBlanc also climbed within the top 100. So we have now 6 top 100 players, I think, right? Just a quick little recruiting nugget update there.
Yeah, we got 6.
Damn, Brian, I feel you.
Yes, there are 6 top 100 players now committed to the Sooners. And then you've got Samuel Omosigo at 110. So he's only 10 spots away. So he could be jumping up to...
His climb's been stupid. Like, he's climbed over 50 spots since he's been committed to Oklahoma. And I don't think he's been committed for, 2 months? If that, less than that?
He committed on June 30th. So, yeah, just coming up on 2 months. Yeah, he's been jumping up there. He's quick.
Everyone make sure to like the stream, share it on Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media you have. Tell your friends, your family, anyone that likes Oklahoma. And we're actually going to talk a little bit of NFL because we can't talk enough football. It's almost there. I did my first fantasy football draft this weekend, and it got me going.
And you botched it. I mean, from what you said,
it was terrible.
You didn't like it. It's not great. It's not great. It's not like
it's kind of like you said. It could be
really good, but I mean, I don't know if it's winning titles.
We'll see. I took a lot of flyers there.
Oh, get the
Jim Leahy puns. I love it. Well, we are on the liquor. I am at least on the liquor. I don't know if you boys are on the liquor yet, but I'm on the liquor.
On the liquor. Not right now. Let the liquor do the talking. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we did have a couple questions from today's end of video challenge, so we can start there.
A couple really good ones, too, I thought. We appreciate you guys watching and dropping some fire comments. Yeah.
We said top 5, 5 questions, but I'm just going to go from the top here. And then if you guys do have any questions or you want us to chat about something, make sure to drop it in the comment section and we'll try to get there as quickly as we can. All right, so the first question that we got is, hold on. Is Oklahoma in the lead for David Hicks?
Starting off hot.
Bro, you take it first.
So David Hicks, obviously, Oklahoma, they've been in the running with Texas A&M. Texas A&M's been the biggest competition and for the longest time has been the perceived leader in this recruitment. It seems like as of late, Oklahoma with Todd Bates has the longest standing relationship with David Hicks and his family, which is definitely benefiting the Sooners. It seems like Oklahoma is making a surge right now with him, and it seems like that Oklahoma is very much in this. Not saying that they're going to land him for sure, but he's currently slated to commit or announce his commitment in January. I think personally, if you see David Hicks adjust his commitment date, which there's been some talks and some reports of him potentially thinking about doing that. If you see him pushing it up I feel like that's great news for Oklahoma, and I think Oklahoma can close this out and land him. I'm just going to say it right now. I think he's a Sooner as we stand right now, but there's a lot of time between now and January, especially if he doesn't push up his commitment. Brandon, what do you think?
I'm just gonna kind of echo that. I don't know if we're allowed to say this and stuff or whatever, but like I feel good. I feel good, and just I think he's gonna end up going to Oklahoma, boys, as we all kind of do, and just the stuff we've talked about, and with some of our friends. But I feel pretty good about David Hicks. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of time. But yeah, if I were a betting man, I would put money on Hicks to go to Oklahoma.
Jose, yep, you're saying the same. I mean, we can't just go off of this topic. Think about this. Would you guys have ever really thought that a year ago that Oklahoma would be a top 2, maybe top 3, depending on if you consider Alabama in this recruitment, as a landing spot for David Hicks? I mean, last year at this time, I would have told you you're insane to ever think that the number 1 defensive lineman was going to go to Oklahoma, or at least has a very good shot. I mean, that's impressive for this staff to come in and immediately establish, I guess, go up towards his top. I know he visited Oklahoma before, the new staff came, but still it's a testament to what Todd Bates and Venables and them are doing right now.
I think you take some and you lose some, right? And just like the philosophy of recruiting and stuff with the 2 programs, because with the old guy, who again I won't ever say a nice thing about his ability himself, but like you had Malachi Nelson committed, you had Raleek Brown committed, you had Mekhi Lemon committed, you had some really high caliber offensive players, Brandon Innes. So you lose some and you win some, and I think we're ultimately upgrading in the winning here, because I think Hicks, Jordan Renaud, I see is coming up here a bunch in our comment section. I feel good about him. Derek LeBlanc, the guys that we landed on the defensive side of the ball, and plus, like, you get a Jaquez Pettaway who's still that guy. So you take some, you win some, and you lose some with the 2 different programs. But I think we're winning a lot more than we're losing.
All right, boys. I'm trying to scroll through the questions here. Next one is: could Oklahoma win a natty faster if they stay in the Big 12 full time, or the rest of the duration of the contract, or get to the SEC sooner than that?
So the question is if Oklahoma stays through 2025, would they win it faster than just going to the SEC right now?
Yes.
I think that waiting till 2025 or 2024 is the right way to do it. I think they would win it faster than if they would jump ship right now. Just my opinion, because I feel like it's going to give Oklahoma a couple more years of the ability to recruit SEC quality defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and defensive backs and whatnot. And you get all those guys in, and you get them in the program. I feel like the transition will be a lot better. But not saying that Oklahoma couldn't compete, tomorrow if they had to. I think they would. I just feel like that they'd be better suited to hold off and stay for an extra season or 2 before going. But 2024 would be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the level of competition, if the current playoff format sits at what it is and there's only 4 teams, I think in the immediate future, yeah, you're better off in the Big 12, because it is, simply put, it's lesser competition than playing these SEC schools every week. So I think, yeah, I guess the longest possible way to agree with you, yes. It's the short term, yes. Long term, no. I think long term we're going to be better off getting better recruits, better talent, better this and this, people who want to play in the SEC. So the teams will become better. But I think in the immediate future, if the playoff format stays at 4 teams, and it seems like it's going to for at least a while, I think for the next couple of years we are in the best spot in the Big 12.
Yeah, I agree. I do think Oklahoma could win a natty before going to the SEC, given that it's probably a slightly easier schedule, so better record at the end of the year. Oklahoma's brand has always helped the school get into the playoffs. I mean, seems like was it twice that we were the 4th seed? There were so many people on ESPN, on Fox saying like Oklahoma got like just barely made it. It should have been someone else at the 4th spot. And there's always that conversation, but I mean, if we can get in at the 4, like the game outside of LSU, like I think confidently we can say if Levy's offense is what we expect it to be, Brent Venables' defense could help close that gap and make sure we would win a couple of those games to get to the championship.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that OU is going to win a national championship this year because I don't think that's reasonable. But the year that I think they could win it is next year. Not this coming season, but the following season, because you think about the quarterbacks that could be leaving for the NFL. Bryce Young could be gone. CJ Stroud could be going to the NFL. Those are your 2 top guys in all of college football as far as the quarterback position. And Dillon Gabriel comes back for another year after having a solid year at Oklahoma. The defense gets a little more experience and there's some more leadership. I think OU would have a legitimate shot. Not that they don't have a legitimate shot this year, but I really think that they could be one of the top 5 teams as far as the betting favorites to win the 2023-2024 national championship.
Teddy Lehman put a tweet out that said OU will win a national championship in the next 3 years, and I'm going to just agree with that. So if it's next year, I'm okay with that. If it's the year after that, I'm okay with that. But the way this team is climbing, the way that things look on paper, the recruits we're getting, it's going to be a top 5 class in Venables' first season. It's already better than anything that Muleshoe recruited, by the time it's all said and done. I think the way this team is going to climb, the way we're going to play football, I think that with Teddy Lehman saying 3 years, I think that's a reasonable timeline for an OU national title.
Honestly, I think Oklahoma has a chance this year to compete. It just depends on how quickly everything comes together, and sounds like the team is coming together pretty well. Just got to put the product out on the field. If Dillon Gabriel stays after this year, then I agree with you, bro. Oklahoma's chances increase significantly next season because more than likely Bryce Young will be gone. CJ Stroud will also be gone. Those 2 are probably, and then Will Anderson's going to be gone after this year. So Alabama will be depleted of some significant star talent there. And they'll be starting, not brand new, but they're essentially reloading. And we would just have to essentially be in Georgia's position because Georgia, I think, they were a really good team. Don't get me wrong, but I think they also lucked out because Alabama had a lack of experience last season, and that's not the case this year. I think this year is going to be tough for anyone that's not Alabama or Ohio State to win the national championship. But Oklahoma, I think we can at least make it to the playoffs and make it an interesting game in round 1. All right, so the next question is, how long does Levy stay at Oklahoma?
That's an interesting one. You guys want to go first? Take a stab at that one?
How long does Levy stay at Oklahoma? Well, it just depends. I'm not sure if he's someone that he's going to take the first offer to be a head coach at a Power 5 program, or if he's going to be looking for the right, landing spot like Venables was. Not saying that he's going to hang around Oklahoma for 10 years, 13 years or whatever it was. I think Levy's there for 3 to 4 years. And I don't think he leaves because he's getting fired. I think it's because he's landed a good Power 5 job, somewhere where he wants to go. And I think he stays an extra year or so because it's his alma mater and maybe they're in a spot to win a national championship, maybe led by Jackson Arnold, trying to run it back one more time. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years.
I can see it being even longer than that. I think when he does leave, I think we all agree he's going to leave for a job that he feels is better. And I don't know what high quality jobs are going to open up. I think I can see the Penn State job opening up in that time period, maybe even sooner, depending on how they perform. But I don't know that he loves that job as a head coach. At the end of the day, he came to Oklahoma on a lateral move. He was the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. is doing the same thing here. I think he wants to be in Oklahoma, and I think he wants to play or not play. He wants to coach Jackson Arnold. I think he's excited to have Jackson Arnold and what they can do together. I can see him going into Arnold's junior season. So that's what, 7 years from now?
In his junior year?
Into 5 years, 5 or 6 years into Jackson Arnold's junior year.
I guess if you assume,
and that's if Gabriel comes back, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I can see him staying for a while.
Well, I agree. I could see him staying like 5 years. I mean, I guess it'll really all depend on, will Oklahoma continue to fund the program really well, like it has from the jump with Venables? Because Levy came over in a lateral move because he is one of the highest paid coordinators now at Oklahoma, maybe even somewhere towards the top. He got a raise essentially. If we can continue that trend, he'll stay for a while. If we can't, then I would agree he's going to take the next step in his career and become a head coach somewhere, as long as he keeps proving. And I could see that being as early as like 3 years from now. And then maybe Finley coming in as the OC. I know that's something that before, like when Levy first got hired, that was a big thing that was being kind of talked about or mentioned, that Finley and Levy have similar philosophies and offense. So it would be probably a smoother transition. But that, I guess it's tough to say because not every coach has head coaching aspirations. So as long as they're being paid well, they'll stay at Oklahoma. I think that's with Bates and Levy, that's going to be like, do they want to be head coaches? And if they don't, can Oklahoma continue to be competitive with their salary, where they have no reason to look to move as a defensive coordinator or a OC somewhere else?
I would like to think that they'd be willing to pay and able to pay with the transition in the SEC. I mean, if you're going to be playing, competing with the best, you have to be willing to, open the wallet and invest in your people and invest in the program, which I think Oklahoma has shown over the last 8 months what they're truly capable of when they're motivated.
What big time programs do you think has an opening in 3 to 4 years? I mentioned Penn State because I can see them firing Franklin in that time period, if not a little sooner. Nebraska, I don't, but like who else? I don't think
USC.
Probably USC. I agree. That guy sucks.
Yeah.
What jobs? Because I agree he's only going to leave for a great job, but what great job is going to be open?
Okay, so I'm thinking Florida. They're a hot dumpster fire. They normally
just hired Napier though. I feel like they'll give him a little bit of time.
And how long did they give? Who's their coach who came from Mississippi State? I forget his name.
Mullins.
Mullen. How long was he there?
That guy sucked though. That guy sucked.
Yeah,
I feel like it's hard to suck that bad.
I mean, Texas. But
Texas is throwing around here a couple times. I mean, if Sark keeps drinking beers or whatever, keeps losing, there's a chance. But
I couldn't. It would be hard to see Levy coach on the Texas sideline.
Auburn's a good drop there.
It would have to be a school that can also look past his connection with the Baylor program in that situation. And 3 to 5 years from now, it's going to be a long way. Like there would have been a ton of time, but like a Notre Dame, if Marcus Freeman for some reason leaves, I don't know if they would look past that situation to hire even a super talented coach in Levy.
Yeah, Florida State.
Oh, Florida State would do anything.
Is that even a job anybody wants anymore? Like genuinely, and I know I shit on a lot of programs on our show, and I do, but like, yeah, is Florida State still an attractive job to anybody?
I don't know. I mean, they probably have deep pockets, so it might be an attractive job.
Oklahoma State. Somebody did comment that Mullins was at Florida for 5 years, so they gave him 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
This window, this 3 to 4. I see it. That's why I see it going longer, unless he's attracted to that Penn State job, because I think that opens up within the next 2 years.
Penn State is easy to forgive.
I think Franklin's gone in a year or two. I think Auburn.
Wait, Dan Mullen wasn't there for 5 years.
That's what one of the commenters here said, and I'm rocking with him. Right?
He was hired in 2018, and he was fired in last year. So that's 3.
When was he hired in 2018? Did he coach the 2018 football season?
Yeah, he left.
He coached 2018, 2019, 2020.
21. Well,
so 4 seasons.
Yeah.
3.5.
Yeah. So
he's also a terrible recruiter, apparently.
So I don't see. So you see Napier getting canned even sooner than that, assuming he sucks.
I mean, he could get fired after 3 years if it's a dumpster fire. I mean, there's talks of Sarkisian getting fired after his second season if they lose to Kansas again.
Well, Texas is
when they lose to Kansas again.
Year.
True.
Texas hasn't beaten Kansas in like 1,000 real-time days. It's a great Twitter account that keeps that tracker going.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, and there's going to be openings. Who could leave for the NFL? You just never know.
I mean, yeah, that's always possible. He could always move up as head coach over there.
Yeah.
Lawrence is going to be a sellout when they host Kansas. That's a great comment. I agree. That place is going to be rocking.
It's going to be the hardest.
They're going to show up for that one.
Aren't those tickets free?
We can't beat anybody, but we can definitely beat Texas.
I think those tickets are free.
Boys,
So
that game?
Make a road trip?
When is that game? Yeah.
I don't know. You might be at boot camp.
No, I do get. I'll be gone. I get a Christmas break, but it probably won't work that way.
Let me see the Texas football schedule.
Well, you look that up. I'm gonna keep looking for
November 19th. Will you be at a boot camp?
We should give free tickets to this one. We like to do giveaways. Let's do giveaways to watch Kansas Texas every year. I think our fans would go to that. How many of you guys would go if we gave free tickets away to Texas Kansas, either in Austin or Lawrence? How many of you guys would actually go to watch
give away
just to watch
tickets.
Kansas? Well, maybe not the ones in Austin. I would go if you guys paid me to go, gave me a ticket to go watch Texas Kansas in Austin.
Yes. Oh man.
that. Reminds me, we are doing a ticket giveaway on today's live stream. So like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and go on Twitter go on Twitter and tell us what you liked, what you're looking forward to the most this season for Oklahoma.
These are also OU tickets that we're giving away, not Kansas
OU
tickets.
Not Kansas tickets. We're doing a giveaway to the first game of the season.
The Venables debut.
UTEP.
Yes.
Venables debut. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and go on Twitter at 2planesports and tell us what you're looking forward to the most for this football season. And we'll pick someone before the end of the stream.
I think Corey and Trevor are actually coaching Texas, Keith. I think that's a great comment, but I think they actually are coaching Texas. And apparently for the last 10 years, they've been coaching Texas.
Corey and Trevor. That's a dynamic duo.
They might be better with Corey and Trevor. They'll be all stoned up and, Ricky and Julian will be telling them what to do, but they'll be better coaching than what they have currently.
Yeah. So
This might be possible. Hold on, going just real quick. If Kiffin gets canned or moves, or maybe he becomes like Alabama's next head coach, I could see Levy going back to Ole Miss to head that program.
yeah, Ole Miss is a big enough program that I think he would definitely go back to, and he'd probably get paid handsomely for it.
Oh yeah.
But all right, probably enough talk about Texas and everything. We could probably move on now. There's plenty of other stuff to be talking about.
Does Northwestern beat Nebraska? I say no. That was the most recent question in the comments here. I say no.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. Were we surprised that OU didn't have a preseason All Big 12 and All American?
I wasn't surprised. Like I assumed that OU wouldn't. because the media is, basically kind of saying that Oklahoma isn't what Oklahoma is. But by the end of the year, Oklahoma's going to have some all Big 12 and all Americans, just because, you think of Danny Stutzman, Marvin Mims and things like that. There's no way that Spencer Sanders is an all Big 12 player at the end of the year.
Where would you guys, and I hate Oklahoma State probably more than any team, and actually definitely hate Oklahoma State. It's close. Them and USC, I can't decide now who I hate more, but it's one of those two schools. I can't stand them. So I'm obviously a little bit biased, and I'm not great about talking about them, but from an unbiased, let's try to do this objectively as possible. Where would you guys rank Spencer Sanders in the Big 12 quarterback tier?
What's tier 1? That's
tier. Let's just do a Big 12 quarterback, like top 5. Would Spencer Sanders be in your top 5 of Big 12 quarterbacks?
I would think so.
He might even be top 3.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think Chandler Morris is actually better than Spencer Sanders. And I'm not even sure he's the penciled-in starter for TCU, but he should start because I think he's better than Spencer Sanders.
I would probably put
Quinn Ewers over Sanders.
I think Gabriel is the best quarterback, but obviously
I agree.
I'm extremely biased, but I'd put probably JT Daniels at 2 and probably Spencer Sanders at 3. And then Quinn at 4.
So you would rather, for Oklahoma this upcoming season, you would rather have Spencer Sanders than Quinn Ewers. You would rather have Spencer Sanders than Blake Shippen. You would rather have Spencer Sanders than Chandler Morris. Because I can actually say that no. That dude has been there for so long. He should be good. He's not good. He's never good. You're going to get the same shit every year with him. He's awful.
If you're ranking the quarterbacks this year, though, outside of Dylan Gabriel, he's one of the more experienced quarterbacks. Like, maybe you can make an argument for Martinez to be better than Spencer Sanders.
He's better than Spencer Sanders.
Put him at number 2. But I think they're pretty comparable players. Like, neither of them can wow you. Neither can really pass the ball like at a high enough level that you're going to be like, oh yeah, that guy can at least be a decent backup quarterback in the pros. Like Dylan Gabriel, I think I know we're an Oklahoma show, but objectively, he is the number 1 quarterback in the Big 12 this year. If you look at his past performance, even if it was in a group of 5 team, for the rest, I think you got to look at potential and experience, and Adrian Martinez and Spencer Sanders would come in 2 and 3, and you can figure out where you want to put him. But like Quinn Ewers, if all the rumors about him not being able to separate from Hudson Card for most of camp are true, then that guy is average as fuck. And Sark can't make him the quarterback he thinks he can.
Y'all like Sanders over JT Daniels?
JT Daniels has transferred 1 million times.
He's still better than Spencer Sanders.
I said JT over Spencer Sanders, but Spencer Sanders still threw for like 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns. He ran for like nearly 700 yards and scored 6 times. He's not going to win you a lot of games, but he's going to keep you in it for the most part. And I just don't. Chandler Morris, he hasn't even played a full season. Quinn Ewers hasn't played a full season. And then you look at Max Duggan from TCU. I don't know. And then once you get past TCU, Baylor, they're going off of a guy that played a couple games, 3 games last year. It's just there's just not a lot of experience, and I think at the end of the day, experience helps. And as much as Sanders, I don't think is a NFL quarterback, he can win you some, keep you in games, and just he can make some plays with his feet. It's just he's kind of up and down. I just think he's better. He's the top 3 quarterback in the Big 12. I don't think he's number 1, but I do think he's one of the better quarterbacks this year. And I think quarterbacks as a whole in the Big 12 is down.
Spencer Sanders as a freshman, 2,065 yards, 62% completion, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. 2020, He did 2,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 picks. He had his best season as a starter last year. 2,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. The dude turns the ball over a lot. He loves interceptions. Yes, he almost does stuff for 4,000 if you count his interceptions. Their biggest game of the season last year against Baylor, he threw what, 5? 6? That wasn't 6. Was it 4 or 5 though? He got picked off so many. That dude is actually horrible. I would pick a lot of quarterbacks in the Big 12 over him.
So where do you have him at? 5, 6?
10, 12. He might be better than Kansas. Actually, the Kansas quarterback, I can't remember his name right now, but he actually played very, very well down the stretch last season. He might be better than Spencer Sanders.
Bean, right?
Bean, yes.
You know who you could make an argument for is JT Daniels' backup. Whoever is backing up JT in West Virginia, that guy's probably pretty good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think Chandler Morris is pretty good. I think Chandler Morris is better than Spencer Sanders. I can't believe you guys don't feel that way.
It's a playful season, my guy. All right, let's. Here, you guys keep going. I'm looking for the next question.
12.
12. Maybe 12 could be a stretch, but again, I can't stand that university. But Matt Bingham, friend of the show, Matt Bingham, one of our guys, says he agrees to me to a degree, so I don't know how much of that he actually agrees with. He probably doesn't have Spencer Sanders as number 12, but not high. No.
Is that true? Do you care to comment on that one?
Can you confirm?
I cannot confirm.
How do we feel about Nick Evers? I don't know.
We're going to sound bad about this. Yeah, we're going to sound bad here.
I actually believe in the kid.
No, you don't. You said he was better than. You said he's worse than. No, I said he was better than Gary Bohannon. You said no. Never mind. You actually said he was better than Gary Bohannon. Yeah, you did. You did. You said he was better than Gary Bohannon, which he's not at this moment. But
Nick Evers. I think he's got potential. I mean, he's solid. He will compete for a starting position at Oklahoma once Gabriel's gone. But I believe that Jackson Arnold can come in and start over him. But I'm not saying that's 100% sure. I just think Jackson Arnold is that special. It's not saying that Nick Evers isn't good. I just think Jackson Arnold is that guy, and he can come in as a true freshman and start. Or his, redshirt freshman year, he could start.
Yeah, and we talked about it on our show, Brum and I. You agreed on that. I think, again, it's no slight at all to Nick Evers. I think Nick Evers is going to be a very good college quarterback somewhere. I don't see it at Oklahoma because I agree. I think Jackson Arnold starts day one, so long as Dylan Gabriel's not there. If Dylan Gabriel's not on campus day one, Arnold starts. And if you guys watched our interview with him, he mentioned the same thing. He said he obviously didn't say he was going to be the starter if Dylan Gabriel wasn't there, but he said to us, if I get to campus and Dylan Gabriel's gone, I intend to compete for the QB1 spot, and I think he wins that battle.
I disagree. Not that Jackson Arnold isn't a good quarterback. I agree that with both of you that he is a very talented quarterback. I just think that you guys are overlooking the fact that there aren't very many freshman quarterbacks that just come in and take a spot just like that. I think Nick Evers will at least have enough experience after 1 year of learning, a year and a half, that he could be the starting quarterback next year if Dylan Gabriel does leave. Now, the situation where I could be with you guys is if Dylan Gabriel does not leave for the NFL this year and Nick Evers has to sit 1 more year and let Jackson Arnold start catching up with him and learning the playbook, then I could see Jackson overtaking him in the quarterback room. But unless that exact situation happens, I think Nick could at least start for 1 year, maybe 2, and then Jackson's turn. I mean, it's not like he is still a very good quarterback, and he's getting the time to learn. He's by the time Jackson gets into the quarterback room, Nick will have had one experience of not just knowing the playbook, but learning how to be a college student at the same time. And that's not an easy task, even for people that aren't athletes. Sometimes it takes people to adjust to just being in college. And then we'll see. But I see a world where Nick Evers could start for the Sooners.
I mean, the world exists, but I just think Arnold is that. And you mentioned the playbook and stuff. And so I agree with you on being a college student. Nick Evers will obviously have experience in that, and I do think that's important. I mean, he's going to be a freshman, but when it comes to the playbook, Jackson Arnold will have a very good level of understanding with it. It's almost identical to what he runs in high school. He talked about that in our show. So I feel like he's not going to take too much time in grasping the playbook. So I don't think he'll be very much behind the 8 ball, if at all, in that regard, as far as the competition goes.
But the speed of college football is significantly faster than high school football. And just like every step of sports, the next level is significantly faster and more competitive, right? And even if they are running very similar offenses, the words, the verbiage that they use is not identical. It's going to take him some time to do that, get used to the receivers, start gaining chemistry with that. Like, I agree. He'll come in having more better level of comfort with this offense than any typical freshman quarterback. But there's a lot of factors that still go into it. Just like, and he also mentioned it when he was on the show. Like, he doesn't really, even though, again, he's familiar with the type of offense, he doesn't know the exact offense. There's still intricacies of what Levy's doing that his high school doesn't do, or maybe not do at the same level, that he'll need to learn. I mean, we'll see, but I genuinely think Nick Evers stays and at least plays 1 year. And then I could see a situation like Tua and Jalen Hurts, not like the achievement part, but where the younger guy just takes over after, half a season of sitting behind him, or a whole year, and then comes in during a big game and takes over, and essentially the starter from then on out. Let's see.
Or like last year for Oklahoma.
Yeah, like last year too.
I guess before we move off of that, the one thing I want to say is whenever we run in that situation, I just hope that as a fan base, we handle the quarterback controversy a little bit better and not boo, someone off the field. I didn't really care for that one. But
we were adamant Spencer Rattler defenders on this show.
Yeah, we were,
at least.
All right, two follow-ups. I'm gonna go with one. They're both pretty quick. I guess they're not follow-ups. 2 quick questions. So Lori, I wanted to get to her because she's asked a few times, asking who do we think commits first in 2024. My answer to that is David Stone.
Agreed.
And I'm just kind of going blind here. I think Brum would have a better answer than us, but I just feel like this guy's
I think that it could be David Stone, but I think there's a couple other potential people. Kavion Henderson, he's from Leeds, Alabama. He's a 2024 4-star defensive lineman. I think his commitment date is November 10th. It's basically between Oklahoma and Arkansas. Oklahoma seems to lead right now with him. So he could be one. And then the other guy that I'm thinking about is Michael Hawkins Jr., the quarterback from Allen. His dad played at Oklahoma. He's a 2024 4-star quarterback. He is definitely trending towards Oklahoma. Let me go get the dog, but you guys keep talking.
All right. Next question.
Rico.
For you, Brandon. What is your opinion on the Miami Hurricane?
I think they're my second favorite program in the country, right?
Second favorite?
No, I actually, Jonathan must be a fan of the show and watch us because I have a lot of hot takes on Miami. I think they're garbage. I talk about all the time. If I was a top level recruit, I would go. on a visit to Miami just because it's in Miami, and I would go hit the beaches and I would do all the fun stuff. And I mean, South Florida is a very fun place to be, but the program itself is trash. I mean, they don't even have their own stadium, and that's my biggest knock on them. I'll always hate on them until they get their own stadium. Imagine being just you and I were college students. It would be tricky, I feel like, on game day to wake up, be on campus, and have to drive 20 minutes to the Dolphin Stadium to watch the game because it's that far away. It's a hassle, and that's probably why they don't have any fans there. They suck.
Yeah, I agree. If I was an 18-year-old kid that really only had 3 or 4 schools that I was interested in, I'd throw in Miami just to get the free visit. It sounds like a pretty good time, and I'm sure that they take you out to nice places. The players probably show you a good time.
They'll probably go to Smith and Wesson like we did on your bachelor party. I mean, great. There's a lot of fun things to do in South Florida, but as far as football, I don't think that's the way to do it. I kind of like Old Navy. so but I mean, I see what he's saying. But I do like Old Navy. It's cheap.
I do agree with Sooner. I don't know. Thrawn. I don't know. I do think Cristobal is going to make that program pretty good. It's just going to be a while. But this recruiting class for them is turning out pretty good. Not like I follow them like religiously. I just believe Cristobal is putting together the right coaching staff, at least on the offensive side.
He definitely is.
At least have a competitive team.
Got a question from a fellow Dolphin fan, my guy Jimmy here. Will Skylar Thompson be QB2 for the Dolphins? Yes, I think so. Jimmy, what do you think? The way he's been playing in preseason, and I know preseason doesn't mean much, if anything, but I mean he's been shredding it, and Teddy's is supposed to be the number 2 guy, and he's not playing like Skylar Thompson is.
I mean, he's probably going to be QB1 by game 3 or something, and bring Tua in as a closer. Because apparently the Dolphins run it like a baseball team down there.
The Dolphins are going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and Madden, if you turn it on all rookie mode.
The Dolphins are good. The stream usually turns into a Dolphin hate session for some reason.
The Dolphins are horrible. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, do you think Skylar Thompson is going to be QB1?
Probably.
Oh, man.
You guys are haters. Should we go back to Oklahoma football?
Yeah, we can go back there.
Or at least talk about Baker Mayfield. We're going to talk about the NFL or something. Let's give the people some Oklahoma stuff because only me and Jimmy are Dolphins fans. Everybody else is just going to hate on us for it. Yeah, there it is, Keaton. The Panthers did get a lot better. I agree.
Matt Rule was being a dipshit by saying that was a competition. And I mean, me and Brandon watch the Pat McAfee show all the time. He has a segment now where he talks to beat reporters, and the beat reporter from the Panthers essentially said that it was never actually competition if anyone that knows even the most basic thing about football was there to call that out. Like Sam Darnold's favorite receiver was CJ Henderson. Their like 3rd-year cornerback. That guy is absolute trash.
I thought it was funny that Lincoln Riley posted on his Instagram story today of Baker Mayfield being the starter, and I'm thinking, who did he beat out? He beat out a fellow USC Trojan. I think that's pretty funny.
Doesn't know where his allegiance lies.
Man, that's a true fan right there. I
Who?
hope. Did you not see Dominique?
That's yeah.
I don't know how you did it because I can't rewatch our old stuff.
I was going to say, I hope we're better now.
At least
since the first of the year, or since I wonder if anybody's been here since video 1. Because have you guys ever actually come back and watched our very, 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 very first episode ever made? It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's so hard to watch.
Going back and watching.
Yeah, definitely don't check out our very first video ever.
I think we were all over the place. What were we doing? We were doing like NCAA prediction tournament.
We were talking about the World Series before the baseball season started. It just didn't make sense.
It was opening day, I think, when we
Yeah.
first started.
You know, speaking of that, I think we got a question earlier today on one of our videos, I believe from Ian, talking about the origin of how we came about as far as the
Yes.
two planes and everything else. Jose, do you have that question exactly, or do you need me to find it?
I do have the question. Let me pull it up again, and
Yeah,
I'll put it. I'll make a little banner here for the viewers. Essentially, the question was, how did we get started? You know, who started? How did the idea come about? What was the process like? And the story is it's a good one. It's a long one, but essentially, we all met in college. Well, Brum and Brandon met in high school. I met them.
Hey, we kind of met. Was I a
I met
senior in
you
high
going
school?
into
No,
college. No,
you may
I
have been
met-
senior in high school. I was probably a freshman at TCC, but we were playing Tim Howard at the old neighborhood pool.
That was my summer before going into college. So I met
Okay.
you just
Yeah.
before. And I mean that's how we met. I'll let Brandon just talk about why it's called Two Plane Sports because he was the originator of the name. But
Yeah.
one day we hold on one second. It was during the lockdown. I mean, we always talked about like starting a podcast in college because we would sit in the living room and yell at each other for hours about how dumb we were because we didn't agree with anything about sports other than that Oklahoma was really good. And during the lockdown, I just texted Brandon and I was like, why don't we just start the podcast now? We don't have anything better to do. We're locked at home all the time. And he was like, yeah, let's reach out to Bro. I bet he'll do it with us. So then we just all got together and did it. I mean, the logistics are we're figuring it out as it goes. We don't know shit about shit. We're just gonna figure it out
Definitely
minute.
figuring it out as it goes. But you know, you guys for some reason watch us, and we couldn't be more grateful because we have a blast doing this stuff. But I mean, pretty much the origin of the name is like we were doing exactly this. If any of you guys watch our live streams, you know we like to just sit back, talk about sports, and drink beer. And that's literally what we did almost nightly in college. And one of those conversations turned to, how do you win a football game? How do you build a football team that's winning? And to me, it was as simple as, especially in college, is just get the best 5 stars on defense and offensive line, load up on them. That's it. Get so many of them that you need 2 planes for away games. Hence, Two Plane Sports is born. Here we are, hanging out with you guys, having a great time.
A year and a half later of doing this. But, you know, I've been seeing a lot of comments, and we haven't touched on it this show so far, is a lot of people have been talking about Anthony Evans and, you know, seeing some crystal balls in favor of Georgia. Yeah, so one of the questions was Evans one of the 5 locks? No, it doesn't seem like he was one of the 5 locks. Wilt Fong and I know Brendan Drum have entered in crystal balls in favor of Georgia. OU, I would say that this is, and we said this earlier in our episode this morning, that this is kind of some shockwaves we're seeing of Cale Gundy. I think if Cale Gundy was still here, Anthony Evans probably was going to be a Sooner. You know, I think Drum came on our show, and Jose, you mentioned in the video that he was basically not visiting anywhere, kind of shut everything down, was going on a cruise over the last few weeks, just hanging out with family. But, you know, losing that really close connection with Cale Gundy, and then Georgia's been the constant throughout. It just seems like that the relationships and the comfort level with the Georgia coaching staff is just going to win out. So, I mean, it is what it is. Now the question is, who do they turn to? Michael Harrison Pilot, I mentioned that. I mentioned him. Could OU turn around and offer Micah Tease as a wide receiver? Could they, you know, convince the Arkansas commit to come play wide receiver where his brother played? That could be. Or they might just offer a new guy, or they might get a transfer. But Harrison Pilot and Tease are the 2 guys I think that they could go try to convince.
I think when you brought up Harrison Pilot on the show originally, that was super interesting to me because he's a guy that OU was seeming like we were going to get a commitment from. Like, it seemed really, really good. And then, you know, the Shorthorns landed Arch, and it felt like he was going to commit to Texas like a couple weeks after that or a week after that, and for some reason he didn't. I think it'd be really cool if he go back and got Harrison Pilot. But on the Evans front, I do think we lose him. But do you guys would you guys agree with the fact that I think if you had to lose, we only had or right now you have Keon Brown, Jaquez Pettaway, and Anthony Evans that we felt good about. Evans is the one that you want to lose there, right? And I'm not just I mean, it sounds biased because Pettaway and Keon Brown are committed, but you'd rather have Pettaway and Keon Brown than Anthony Evans, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the only one that would really hurt is Pettaway. I think Evans and Brown, again, as bad as it sounds, like they're kind of interchangeable. You don't want to lose both, because then we're back to what does the long term of this room look like, even with the transfer portal being a viable option. Getting at least two commits out of high school is important, and then maybe finding 2 in the transfer portal next offseason to just continue to have depth. But yeah, I agree. Like, not the biggest loss, but obviously we would have liked that.
It's never fun.
No.
There's one question real quick in the comments here that I want you to specifically address, because I think you have this correct. I think when it comes down to it, you kind of hit it on the head on the show. What about Peyton Bowen? Is that a no-go too? What does it come down to with Peyton Bowen, in your opinion?
Oh, it depends on what head he's thinking with. Yeah, I mean, his girlfriend's going to OU. One of his best friends is going to Oklahoma. But then you've got the other side with the family. Like, they might want him to stay at Notre Dame or go to A&M. I don't know. It seems like there's he honestly, like, I don't envy him in any way with this decision, because it sounds like there's so many people telling him so many different things that if he pushed it off till December, I would understand. Like, obviously, as an Oklahoma fan, I would hate it because I'd rather know now if he's going to come to Oklahoma. But, dude, it seems like his family really wants him in A&M. It seems like he wants to go to Notre Dame. He's got ties to Oklahoma. His brother's being recruited by Oklahoma. Another one of his friends, and Ryan Yates, is being recruited by Oklahoma. Like, this guy does not have an easy decision to make.
He doesn't at all. And, the longer he's dragging his feet, at the end of the day, for a guy like him who's a composite 5-star, I mean, any program would be happy to take him. If I were him, it doesn't matter. It's not like someone's going to pull a scholarship. They're going to fill up spots. Even if Oklahoma gets another safety commit, if Peyton Bowen knocks on the door in December, OU's making room for him.
So, see, that's the thing that I wanted you to say that, because that's a question I have, and I want our fans to answer this too. You truthfully feel like, and as much as I like Peyton Bowen and wanted to be a Sooner, because, I mean, you mentioned composite 5-star, there's a lot to like about Peyton Bowen's game. But you really feel as if there's just an unlimited wait time that at no point in time OU or A&M, for that matter, will close the door and be like, nah, dude, we've waited forever.
I don't think the door ever closes. But I think what happens is Oklahoma takes another commit if they could get another commit in the meantime. And, to make sure that if Bowen does decide to go elsewhere, they've got an insurance plan, whether that's Conrad Hussey or another safety commit between now and then. They've got someone. But a guy like him, you don't say no to. It's just like David Hicks. You would never say no to David Hicks, would you?
No, but again, as much as I like Peyton Bowen's game, I don't think that they're the same. I mean, I feel like David Hicks is a day one starter. Like, immediately, the second he steps foot on a college campus, no matter where he goes, he's starting. I'm not sure the same can be said about Peyton Bowen, and I feel like Peyton Bowen's position is way more important.
Peyton Bowen's position is way more important, in my opinion, because
Hicks' position is way more important.
No, Peyton Bowen's position, I think
anybody can play safety. I can play safety.
Dude, the depth.
I'm kidding, everybody. Yes, I can't play safety.
The depth at the safety position is going to be the Achilles heel of this defense this year, because if someone gets hurt behind Key Lawrence, or if Lawrence or Bowen get hurt, it kind of falls off as far
Stubby
as
1085 is playing safety right now.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm telling you, there's certain guys that you will always make room for. And Peyton Bowen is a top 5 safety in the nation, and you'll always take him no matter what.
Maybe Oklahoma feels as if they can make Makari Vickers a top 5 safety in the nation.
Well, yeah, I mean, but there's a reason why they need more safeties is because the depth is really thin. And
yeah, Eric McCarty there too. I think is also going to be pretty good. No one talks about Eric McCarty, but he's going to be good.
I mean, I agree. I think McCarty's going to be good, but you never turn away a 5-star. Even if OU, how many offensive linemen does OU have committed right now? What, 4, 5?
Offensive and defensive linemen, I agree that you never turn those away, but you can turn away a receiver. You can turn away a defensive back. You can turn away a running back. You can turn away a safety.
So you're telling me if a 5-star receiver wanted to play for Oklahoma tomorrow or commit tomorrow, you would say no, we're full?
No, because we're not.
No.
I don't know.
You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. I just don't think there's certain guys you don't say no.
I would turn away Brandon Ennis and Malik Brown.
I wouldn't turn away Brandon Ennis. Are you crazy? That's crazy.
No, it's not crazy.
Did you guys see his stat line from his first game?
No.
He had almost 300 yards or something like that.
He had 300 yards.
Almost.
Yeah, you would turn that down.
He was like at 260 something.
Jaquez Go Crazy is better. I
Why
still
not
want his
have
name to be different. So bad.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think Peyton Bowen ever has the door closed on him.
Shout out to Ian. I mean, when someone says ridiculous shit like what Brandon just said, you kind of just got to sit back and laugh.
What did I say? Oh, the fact that I could play safety. Yeah, that was a joke though. But it's just pointing to my fact that I think David Hicks is a way more position. David Hicks is a guy that I agree. I don't think the door ever shuts on. I don't know that the door never shuts on a Peyton Bowen. I just don't. What about Jacoby Johnson, wide receiver? Just to segue because we're going to talk about this for 5 hours.
I was about to bring that up because it's been mentioned a couple times in the comments. I mean, he can play it, but I don't know if that Oklahoma wants him at that position.
I don't think so because I think Jacoby Johnson, his depth at corner is more important than wide receiver. I mean, he can play both, but I feel like they want him as a defensive back for a reason, and I think he could be one of the better defensive backs in the 2023 class.
He's really good at playing receiver.
Yeah, I mean,
he's really good at playing receiver. I don't think he'll play receiver for Oklahoma, but maybe. I don't know. He's really good at it. I don't know if it's going to be because let's pretend a game happens here and let's say he gets to campus because he's a guy that you don't want to lose, and I don't think this is going to happen. We can shotgun later. I'll play Jordan, but let's say he gets to campus, and again, I'm not predicting this. I don't think this is going to happen, but let's say he gets to campus and he's on practice and he's just getting shredded as a defensive back. He's getting routed. He's giving up touchdowns. He's doing this, that, and the other. It's not going well. With the guy as talented as he is, I don't think you just give up on it. And he has great size, great speed. He's the dude's 6'3", a little over 200, going to be close to 200. Do you feel like if he's struggling or not playing great, that Venables and staff will eventually be like, well, this dude can also play receiver. Let's try it out and watch him kill it there.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, what I wonder, with the previous staff, I would feel more confident that they would give him a run at both sides, like what they did with Billy Bowman. But the previous staff gave Billy Bowman 75 different positions to try out and play in emergency situations. I feel like Venables, I don't know, maybe an emergency situation. I feel like he's recruiting him for a reason at the spot he's recruiting him. I think there's going to be a transfer wide receiver out there that Oklahoma can get if they need some depth and if someone transfers out. I think Jacoby, Oklahoma wouldn't recruit Jacoby as a defensive back, as a corner, if they didn't think his ceiling as a corner was higher than wide receiver. Because at the end of the day, if he was projecting to be a better wide receiver than corner, he'd be a wide receiver. I mean, am I Am I crazy?
No, I agree. And I mean, the fact, like you said, if it was Lincoln and his staff, I could see them like giving him the opportunity to try out both. But since it's Venables, they have an expectation of what the player that they want to bring in is going to be. So I don't think he moves over to wide receiver. Something that has been mentioned a few times now in the comment section is Kevin Sumlin returning to Oklahoma to be the wide receivers coach. Thoughts?
That's interesting. Is that someone just saying that, or is there actually a report saying that's possible? I
haven't seen an official report, but I've seen people a few times mention or at least ask about that possibility and kind of talk about it. I mean, it would be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. It'd be interesting to see if he would take that role, after being a head coach at a couple stops. But obviously, he's probably not going to get another head coaching job for a while. But I think Washington might very well be the permanent guy. I think there's a lot of players that really like him. And I think that if he proves, this season and he continues to recruit, the 2024 guys and closes out the 23 guys, especially if he can get another wide receiver committed between now and National Signing Day, now that Anthony Evans seems to be trending away, if he can prove that he can recruit, he coaches these guys well, I don't see why you don't make him that coach, because at the end of the day, if you don't let him, you don't give him the permanent role, Washington's going to leave. I mean, it's really awkward for him to be the interim, and then you get hired, someone gets hired over you and you get demoted. You're going to go look for another job.
I agree with what you're saying, but and I think what I'm about to say is a pipe dream and not very realistic. But how cool would it be to have like a Brian Broyles or Kenny Stills or some, one of those guys as the receiver coach, or a Sterling Shepard, or he's still playing the league, but you know what I mean? One of those Sooner legends. I think that'd be awesome. I don't know if we even reach out to guys like that, but that would be fun.
I wonder, there's part of me that thinks that would be really cool, but then another part of me is like, is just because you're a good player doesn't mean that you'd be a good coach. And I don't know if as a first time, wide receivers coach, do you get hired in over a guy that's been a wide receivers coach before? I don't know. I mean, it would be an interesting thought for having a guy.
It worked out with a guy like DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Although he was at Arizona for a year, right? Arizona, yeah. For a year or two. But I mean, he was a running back coach right away, and he was good at it.
No, you're right. And I'm just thinking that maybe just because he went to Arizona, and then just because Arizona is a little bit of a lesser program than a school like Oklahoma, you can come in as that. I don't know. I mean, I might be totally wrong.
I mean, I think that unless the wide receivers are terrible this year, which I don't think they will be, it'll be Washington's job at the end of the year. Because like you said, Brum, it would be a very awkward situation to just bring in a guy that maybe hasn't coached at this level to replace someone that's been there for a year. And two, I've seen a couple people like not question, but ask like, can Washington recruit? I mean, that's still something that we've got to like learn. It's not, he hasn't gotten the opportunity to go through a full cycle of recruitment because he doesn't have the chance to, do in-home visits. He doesn't get to communicate with guys that often. Really, just whenever they come to campus, he gets a chance to talk to them, here and there. But now that he's got the role as a wide receivers coach, he can constantly communicate. He gets to do in-home visits when the season's over. He'll be a bigger part of recruitment. So can he recruit is something that won't be answered until next spring, I would say. And then, it's also like, does he want the job? Because I don't think you really know what you're getting yourself into as being a college coach until that's your official title. And like, maybe he just doesn't, it's not for him. and we just find another coach. But I would say it's Washington's job if he wants it at the end of the year.
I agree. And I agree with you. Obviously, we haven't seen him recruit receivers on his own yet, but I feel like he's heavily involved in the recruitment process of Jaquez Pettaway, of Keon Brown, of Hollywood Brown, of CeeDee Lamb, of Jalil Farouk, of all the guys that we landed under Cale Gundy. I feel like, or I don't know how long Damian Washington's been there, but
I think he just got hired.
Yeah, I feel like he's heavily involved in the process of Jaquez and of Keon Brown, and I think he'll be okay. I mean, he managed to. I don't know how much of it was him or Venables or anybody in general, but I mean, Jaquez Pettaway is a guy that we were very worried about when the Cale Gundy news broke, and he, posted a day later, 2 days later, he's locked in, he's staying. So I feel like LaDainian Washington is a big factor in keeping Jaquez Pettaway.
Yeah, and I think another big part is going to be it's going to be the boring side of football. Like, who can we pay? And Washington's going to be cheaper than probably even a guy like Malcolm Kelly or any other experienced wide receivers coach. So if he's good, he'll be good, but he won't be as expensive for the university, bringing in a more experienced coach. He gets to develop. I think that seems like something that Brent Venables is very passionate about, not just with his players, but getting to develop the coaches that he has and hopefully getting him to the next opportunity to be an OC, to be a coordinator, passing game coordinator for Washington. So I just think that Washington has to do really, really bad for Venables to not offer him the job at the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just going to take a quick second to plug, as Brum does, but Jose has it reading across the bottom on the ticker here. But it's giveaway time. So you guys be sure to like that stream, subscribe to the channel, and then just go tag us on Twitter and tell us what you're most excited about for OU football. There's a lot of things to be excited about. But I mean, it's a free and easy opportunity to win 2 tickets to the Brent Venables coaching debut. We all want to be there. So just go ahead and do that real quick.
All right. Well, go ahead and throw more questions in the chat. While we wait, do what Brandon said. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL. We've kind of covered. We talked about how much the Dolphins are going to suck. We talked about Baker Mayfield being the Panthers' new quarterback. I saw someone saying Brian Asamoah is starting to kill it for the Vikings. Very excited that they finally took a Sooner. But not this last draft, but the year before, we passed on Ronnie Perkins and Ramondre Stevenson and took guys that aren't even contributing to the team at the moment. The old front office was shit. But there's a new.
The Arizona Cardinals are becoming the Arizona Sooners, which is so fun. I mean, if you're a Sooner fan who doesn't have an NFL team, I think Arizona is a good place to look at if you're trying to build a team, because they are just loaded with Oklahoma talent. Another question about the guys that were recently drafted. Have you guys seen anything about how Perrion and Isaiah Thomas have been doing over there in Cleveland?
I saw a couple things about Isaiah from the first game. He was doing well in game 1 of the preseason.
He had a huge first game. I think he had 2 sacks in the preseason. I haven't seen much from Perrion yet, but I don't know. I know Jeremiah Hall just got cut. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think.
Kennedy Brooks looks good in his limited action. Maybe I think he's got a chance to make the team.
Yeah, I think Kennedy Brooks was overlooked, extremely overlooked. I don't really quite understand why no one really cared.
It's ridiculous that he went undrafted. The dude he's good. It's a shame, but I think he'll be just fine in Philly.
I know this isn't Sooner related, but can you guys believe about that Kayvon Thibodeau hit?
Oh, that's a fun conversation. I think it's actually interesting to see on Twitter people talk about this. As somebody who's never played football, just watching it on TV, that hit that Thibodeau got hurt on just looks absolutely dirty. Like it looks like it's not a good play. I don't think it should be allowed. I think that guy should be suspended. Like that wasn't it. But then there's a lot of people who say it's just a clean shot block, and maybe it is, but it looked like he dove straight at his knees.
It did look like that. I mean, I don't think he was doing it maliciously. I mean, at the end of the day, by the rule book, it is a clean hit. As long as he isn't being engaged, by someone else, and then someone else dove at his knees. I mean, it did seem a little. I mean, it's preseason at the end of the day, but I guess guys are competing for roster spots in their careers. So I don't know. And I guess if they get told what to do, then it's what they do. So
I mean, definitely. Watching the video of that play, I think that's probably one of the few injuries where I legit cringed a little bit. It just looks so painful having a human that size running at you, not at full speed, but at any speed at your knees. Just feel like I kind of felt the pain for him. It's not an illegal hit, and bringing in again my Pat McAfee knowledge, because they were talking about it on today's show. AJ Hawk was saying like Kayvon Thibodeau kind of screwed himself because he stopped in his tracks trying to figure out what the offense was doing, to figure out where he should go, either attack the running back on the inside or not let someone get to the outside. So the tight end kind of had, an unfortunate clean shot at his knee. And they talked about like he was supposed to essentially do what Brandon could probably talk about a little better than I can with wrestling, like just push him off and get his legs as far away from him as possible so he can keep attacking. I'm pretty sure that's a wrestling move. Just when someone shoots for your legs, just push, get your arms out. And
your first line of defense is your hands. Yeah. And he didn't put hands on anything. And I've seen a bunch of people who played football or whatever like Twitter's a wild place. Everybody on Twitter has played football.
And they're experts
in the comment, and they're experts. Yeah. So everybody's commenting and stuff, but I mean, it kind of makes sense to some degree. Like, you got to put if you see somebody going towards your legs, you should probably put your hands on their shoulder pads. Brumba can play receiver. I can play safety. Hose is probably a kicker or some shit.
I can play wide receiver, but I might not time, as fast as Anthony Evans, but just maybe a little bit slower. But
it's the hair short. Like if he's a 4.3, you're probably like a 4.5.
On a bad day, 4.45 is probably my good day.
Matt actually says you have no hands, and I kind of agree with that. I have played catch with Brum 1,000 times. If you guys ever come out to a tailgate and we're all out there, we'll play football. We'll play catch, whatever, as everybody does at a tailgate. Yeah, Brum can't catch shit. He's actually brick for hands 101.
Could be a fullback. That's more likely than a wide receiver. That's for sure.
Matt says I'm the water boy. If by water he means beer, I'll gladly distribute beer for the boys.
Yeah, I think we need beer when we're playing football.
Yeah.
But I would be probably the best corner on the squad.
Yeah. So
like out of the three of us?
Yeah.
No.
Corner?
Hell yeah, dude. I'm the tallest, longest, fastest probably.
You're not the fastest.
Brandon, unless it's downhill and you're rolling, I'm winning a race.
No. I think if we get in a sprint race, I definitely win. 20 yards, 30 yards, I win.
Give me 200 yards and I win every time.
200 yards? Who the hell sprints 200 yards?
Fucking athletes.
There's no football field that's 200 yards.
Mike, have you ever played with Bo Jackson in an old Madden game? You can go back and forth till the defense catches you.
I mean, yeah.
Now we have to do a race.
See, look, Sean says I'm a DB and Hose is a linebacker because he just knows that I'm faster than you, and I am faster than you.
I won't race because I don't want to embarrass you guys, but I'll record it for you.
Here we go.
But what are some of the questions that we got, Jose?
We're starting to get questions. Lori's asking, how many games will Tebow lose? All of them? Nah.
All of them.
I think they legit lose like 3. 3 games, like a 9-3 season seems to be.
Yeah, I see them definitely losing 2. They could trip up a third game. I mean, because their 2 big games are Utah and Notre Dame. And depending on how Notre Dame ends up being, I don't know. But they're bound to trip up in one other spot for a game. USC's been Lincoln Riley's been known to not get his team prepared for lower competition. So I'd say 9-3 is probably fair.
Yeah.
Wait, what? We're talking about Tebow losing games, right?
Yeah, but look at the question.
The real question is, how
no,
many
I know it's a
games does
sprint
Tebow
race, but like he said 200 yards. Who the hell does 200 yards in a race? That's ridiculous.
I just
That's
told you that.
20 to 30 yards, I think, is the thing.
When does shave the beard?
Shave the beard.
Shave the beard.
I am great.
If
Great
we can
point.
get 1,000 viewers in this stream in the next before we exit, I don't know when that happens. I'll gladly shave it.
It's just ridiculous. Just keep the peer
worth it.
pressure on with the shave the beard. USC loses 4 games, I think.
I think they go 9-3.
I think they
I
lose
agree
4
with
games.
9-3 take.
Well, they could be 9-4. They might lose in the Pac-12 title game.
They'll lose every game they're supposed to lose. So they'll lose the Utah game, the Notre Dame game.
And they're
That's it.
not really
They're
supposed to
supposed
lose anything else.
Well, they'll still find 2 losses because they suck.
Perfect.
All right. Well, someone just mentioned it on here for them. Oh, if they were 9-3, they're not making the Pac-12 championship because Utah would get the nod on their side of the division. They could lose to UCLA. I mean, UCLA beat them last year. They bring back a lot of experience. They could lose to Fresno State.
Everybody beat USC last year.
3 teams didn't. I don't know who those 3 were. 3 did not.
Yeah, that is
Fresno
true.
State could beat them.
Oklahoma sucks, boys.
God, the Pac-12 is so bad.
All right. Let's see.
Jose
What about
Blanco.
you?
Yeah. Is 12-0 possible?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Is it likely?
Why do you say no, Hose? Why do you see? Yes, it's possible.
I think it's possible.
Anything is possible.
Ask Kevin Garnett.
Yes, but I think, me personally, I think 10-2 for this season. I've been saying 10-2 this entire time. They very well might go 11-1. I just feel like there's going to be some growing pains. I might be totally wrong, but I think 10-2 is good enough to get into the Big 12 title game, and I think they win the Big 12.
The only games that scare me on the schedule is Kansas State, Nebraska, because it's in Lincoln, and unfortunately that Texas game because the Red River game's always close. Other than that, everybody sucks, and I don't see anything being all that close. So like, if we drop one of those, the fringe games, I guess 11-1, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, 11-1.
Would you guys agree that there's more? So like, are those 3 games the ones that you can see as okay? We'll be nervous this week.
You
Or
said
do you guys have
Nebraska,
more?
you said
Nebraska, Kansas
Texas.
State, Texas.
You don't think Oklahoma State at all?
Not a chance in hell. We lost them last year. We don't lose them twice in a row. Like I probably actually never ever, like in the history of sports ever, because the record is so landslided. I don't think that's possible. And now our head coach actually wants to be there. So yeah, and it's a Norman. Yeah, I truly don't think there's a chance in hell.
I mean, I think Oklahoma or Texas, Oklahoma State. I do think Nebraska could be interesting. I do think Kansas State could be interesting. I think those are my 4 games, and I think Oklahoma might end up going 2-2 through them. And
Sooner Thon dropped Baylor in the comment section, and that's actually a good one. Kind of forgot Baylor existed, but I think the fact that the game's in Norman, same thing as the Oklahoma State effect. We lost them last year. This year it's at home. I think it's a different story with both those schools.
It very well might be. So what's your end prediction then? Not counting any postseason play. Are you 11-1?
I'll go 11-1. I guess we'll drop one of those three that I'm nervous about. As much as we hate it as Texas do, I mean, I don't think Texas is better than us, but has it been since the Kyler Murray year?
I think that's where one of my losses, I think Oklahoma loses just because it's really close. And I said that I think Oklahoma and Texas play in the Big 12 title game, and I think Oklahoma beats them in the Big 12 title game.
I think Texas is actually horrible, though. I'm just nervous because they always play as close. Like that, it's a game where no matter how good one team is, how bad the other team is, it's always close. So that's why it's always stressful.
Yeah, that's fair. Jose, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 10-2. We would lose to Texas and Red River, and then I'll just, actually, I'm gonna go 11-1, and that'll be the only loss because I used to think that Baylor was intimidating, and I'm not saying that they're not going to be a good team this year, but they did lose a lot of their offensive production. Shapen, I guess we'll see with how Shapen does this year. Their defense also lost a lot of good players, but that's the one thing, just like Oklahoma, we trust the head coach to put it together a good defense. I think Aranda can be really good, is a really good coach, and is probably going to put together a solid defense this year. Can it be as good as last year? Probably not, since there's a lot of youth there, but that game just isn't as intimidating as it was like a month ago or 2 months ago, now that we're learning more about it. But I also don't think Texas makes it to the Big 12 championship. I think that they're going to start dropping games as the season goes on. They're just going to lose focus on what's happening and maybe be like an 8-win team. They'll improve, but they're not going to be Big 12 champion contenders.
They're also, and I think Quinn Ewers is actually pretty good, but I mean, at the end of the day, if he sucks, which there's a possibility he sucks because he does play for Texas and he does play for Steve Sarkisian, and that guy will be drunk. So there's a chance he sucks, but if he does suck, Texas sucks. Like they have all of their eggs in the Quinn Ewers basket. Because I mean, we saw Hudson Card. He ain't it. He's not that guy. So if Quinn Ewers sucks, Texas sucks. And if Quinn Ewers sucks, we're definitely going to lose to Texas.
Yeah, I'm looking through some of the comments. Jordan
bad does
Cornwell,
Bama beat Texas? Bad.
Like 73-0.
I think
whatever the line is,
5
go
touchdowns.
over.
Someone asked, will we get an episode when the starters are released? I think so. I think that's enough for an emergency podcast for sure.
Especially if something crazy happens that we don't see coming. Like that'll be like something not predicted. Like if Harrington's a starter at safety or something.
Yeah. Sean Hall asked, is Jose drinking the Texas Kool-Aid with Brum predicting a loss to him?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are on the Kool-Aid.
We almost lost last year.
We didn't.
No, we didn't.
We should have lost last year, but we didn't.
I mean, every game is close.
They're still coached by Steve Sarkisian, boys.
I've also been seeing a lot of comments about people are asking about Bryson Washington. Does Bryson Washington hit the portal? What about Bryson Washington? To be honest, I haven't been reading a whole lot about Bryson Washington at all. And I'm not sure what exactly is going on. It seems like that he's not in the competition as a rotational player. I mean, at least with the starters. I think that Bryson Washington could be someone that after the season ends and if he doesn't see any time, he very well might be someone that could hit the transfer portal at the end of it. I mean, Justin Harrington's come in and you hear Justin Harrington every single practice, whether he's playing safety, corner, nickel, whatever. Harrington's all over the place. and that's someone that I think could be huge. I just don't really haven't seen a whole lot about Bryson Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's not much to add to that. I think you hit it pretty good. He's definitely a transfer portal candidate if he isn't productive this season.
All right. Checking the Twitterverse. If you guys want to enter into the giveaway, make sure that you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and go on Twitter. Tag at 2planesports and tell us what you're excited about for this football season. We're probably going to wrap, I don't know, soonish. And so we'll announce a winner before we get off tonight.
Y'all are killing on Twitter right now. This is awesome.
Someone
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Iron Jaw asked
9 responses.
9 to change not to change the subject, but you guys never mentioned Oregon. Is USC predicted to beat them? They're actually not on the schedule for regular season. So if they did, they would have to play in the Pac-12 championship game, which I think Oregon very well could win the Pac-12. It feels like, everyone kind of forgets that Bo Nix is there, and not saying that it's not horrible, but Oregon, they could play USC tough, and they're better than
USC.
Yeah,
I think on paper, USC is the third best team in the conference.
Yeah. If Jimmy Satterfield coming in with, go ahead.
If those teams meet up, in the Pac-12 championship, that means something went wrong for Utah. I think Utah wins this year's Pac-12 again.
Jimmy Satterfield asked, "Is Marcus Major RB2?" That's a controversial
no
topic.
Good call, Hose. Right away we hit that one, and we want to say yes, right? At least we I want to say yes because like I'm not sitting here to say I'm not pulling for him. I hope he proves everybody wrong, but I think Brum is right as Eric Gray is the consistent guy who plays all the year. Like he's going to be there all season long. But I think Javonte Barnes is going to quickly climb that depth chart to be the number 2 running back. And I wouldn't be surprised if Marcus Major is behind a guy like Tommy Walker. I could see Marcus Major getting buried on the depth chart.
I think if going back and thinking about it, I did say that Eric Gray, I can't remember the exact total yards, but I think I said Eric Gray could very well have 1,300 total yards this year. I think Marcus Major is RB2. I think he is running back number 2. I think I put him at like 600 or 700 yards rushing whenever we first talked about him, just because I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities, but I do think he's going to have some carries taken away from him from maybe even Gavin Sawchuk. Gavin
Sawchuk's getting a lot of hype going into this season. Also, who gets to claim OU when NCAA 24 comes out in the online league?
No one.
I like to say it's me. Brum doesn't play Xbox with us.
No one gets to claim Oklahoma in a video game. I thought we already agreed on that. That can be a discussion for another day because we don't want to beat our own school, so now we just have to take an auto loss to you.
I'll be Tulsa.
Stubby asked who wins in a real fight between the 3 of us.
Me.
Jose.
No.
Landslide fashion.
No.
I've given Brandon more black eyes than he probably ever had in his wrestling career. Yeah, dude. Last time we wrestled, you came out with a black eye and you had bruises all over your knees.
It's not true.
Sounds a little interesting.
Never took it out
true
in my life. All right, let's here.
Tebow before he leaves USC 3 years. He'll be the head coach of Dallas in 3 years. The Dallas Cowboys. If he's even that good, he might be fired and go to the Nick Saban rehab coaching system.
Exactly, Russell. It sounded a little interesting.
No, forget about that. Nick Saban is going to be the. Did you see the other one? Bruises. The knees are from something else. You guys are on some weird stuff now. All right, we're whatever.
We're trying to talk sports, boys.
We're talking sports. Yeah. But USC, I think I can see him getting fired in 3 to 4 years, especially because they're going to get smacked in the Big Ten. And then he goes to the Alabama Nick Saban rehab system.
He'll be the first decent coach in the XFL after Bob leaves. I'm assuming Bob will not stick around. I'm pretty sure he just came back because they still owed him money from the original go-around.
Tebow to the card. Someone commented that. I hope not, because I like Arizona and I want to pull for Arizona. I want to pull for Kyler Murray, and I can't do that if I can't. I can't. I will never say a good thing about Lincoln Riley. I literally hope he loses 78 games.
This is actually a fun topic. Have you guys seen the stuff about Brew McCoy?
No.
I'm assuming you guys are aware of who he is.
I have, because I follow how much I hate that guy so much.
All right,
I know
so
Brew
real quick,
McCoy.
here, let me give everyone a summary for those who are not aware of who Brew McCoy
Lincoln
is.
Riley's a
and what the
pussy.
situation is.
Sums it up pretty much. That's all I would
Brew
do.
McCoy, coming out of high school, was, I believe, the number one athlete in his class. Really good player. Committed to SC, transferred during the spring to Texas, transferred back after a year, and is now transferring to Tennessee. Essentially, what needs to happen is that either the NCAA or USC has to sign a waiver for him to be able to actually transfer to Tennessee and play this year. He is at Tennessee practices and is getting snaps, but the longer this goes on, the less Josh Heupel can actually give him opportunities, because then he has to, give the younger guys or the other guys snaps in practice so that they can actually prepare for the season.
Which is why I said, to sum it up long term, is Lincoln Riley's being a giant pussy, because he's the guy who will go and take Jordan Addison, right, from the transfer portal from Pitt, and he will try to play him. He'll take Caleb Williams. He'll take Mario Williams. He will exploit the transfer portal to the benefit of Southern Cal. But even when he was at Oklahoma, remember when Chandler Morris entered was it so many times? I think it was Chandler Morris is the big one, though. Talking about how it shouldn't be allowed to interconference transfer or whatever the hell he was saying. Lincoln Riley is the biggest bitch, of all time. I can't stand the guy when he is anything he says. He sucks. But yeah, he will exploit the portal all day long to benefit his team. And then as soon as Brew McCoy, Chandler Morris, anybody has any ideas of leaving, he literally makes it impossible for them to. He makes it as hard as possible. He sucks.
Real quick interruption here. Shout out to Isaiah Thomas. I guess his daughter was just born. I'm assuming within the last hour.
Nice.
Tweeted about it.
Nice.
Good shit, IT.
Nice.
All right. Do you guys want to keep answering questions, or do we want to start wrapping up?
Let's answer. I think Jordan had a good question, Jordan Cornwell, and then after that, yeah, we can wrap it up. Pick a winner for the giveaway.
Before we start answering this question, if you want to enter into the giveaway, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, go to Twitter, tell us what you're looking forward to for this season, and tag at @2planesports so that we can see it. Because if you don't, we can't see it. Obviously, do that, and I will pick a winner, or we'll pick a winner before we get off tonight. All right, who wants to start?
Bowl prediction.
Bro. You take us home.
I think Oklahoma's in a New Year's Six bowl.
Yes.
Exactly which New Year's Six bowl, I'm not 100% sure. I think part of me thinks Oklahoma could make the playoffs, but I've been saying 10-2, so I think they win the Big 12. They go 11-2. I don't think that gets them into the playoffs. So I think that that gets them to the New Year's Six bowl, and they might win there. I'm not sure. I can't remember which ones are the playoff New Year's Six bowls this year.
I'm looking that up right now.
See, because I don't know it either, but I picked on tonight's. I've been 10-2, but on the live stream tonight, I said 11-1. I'm gonna stick with that. Because I said there's only 3 games that scare me, and I think we win 2 of them. I don't know which one we drop, but we drop one of them. So 11-1. 11-1. We play in a playoff game. Hopefully it works out. but I think a playoff game is realistic. I would love to have USC in a bowl game. I would go 8-4 if it meant we got to play USC. If it guaranteed us to play USC in a bowl game,
No.
just for 1 year.
So now with knowing that the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl are the 2 playoff locations, I think that OU plays in the Sugar Bowl.
That's a good spot for us.
Yeah.
I think we make the playoffs and we will be in the. I so hope that it's the Fiesta Bowl. So I will be in.
Jose, if it's in the Fiesta Bowl, I'm coming too.
Everyone is welcome. But yeah, I think it's actually possible though, because if it's Ohio State or Alabama at 1, the closest bowl game to them is the Peach Bowl. So Oklahoma, as long as Oklahoma is not the number 4 seed, if we're 3, we're Fiesta Bowl bound.
Shit, dude. If it's the Fiesta, if we go to the Fiesta Bowl, we are gonna have a doozy.
I will be needing a hotel in Glendale, or I won't be making it home that day.
We can just Uber. We can split an Uber, the 2 of us. Stay at your place in
Or
Phoenix.
Uber, my guy.
Just make
We'll
more
figure
money.
it out.
We'll delete all of our money. We'll be fine.
That is a good point that Sean Hall brought up, that if OU does play in the national championship, that is in Los Angeles in Lincoln Riley's backyard. That'd be pretty
I hope
He's
all
so
the
cool.
all the players from last year's roster take a trip over to their facilities just to ask them how does it feel to have never made it here.
Just imagine Lincoln Riley having to sit in Los Angeles and watch Oklahoma
Oh.
play in a national championship game.
And they'll
Oh
force
my
him
God.
to go. They'll force him to go because
It'd be it would be
cover it like crazy.
it'd be the hottest thing ever.
Yeah, and then Matt Bingham asked who would OU play in the Fiesta Bowl. Well, I think Alabama obviously would make the playoffs. I think that Georgia could very well make the playoffs.
Ohio State.
Well, I'm just thinking about the SEC because that's the
Yeah.
matchup. It
I
would
don't
be.
If Oklahoma makes the playoffs, I don't think 2 SEC teams make it. I think Utah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying in the Sugar Bowl. In my scenario, I think 2 SEC teams go, and then I think it's probably either Arkansas or
Wait, what?
Florida?
Arkansas for
in
Oh,
the,
for the
Sugar
Sugar
Bowl. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Arkansas or Florida, probably.
In my scenario, I think we probably play Alabama or Ohio State, whoever's 2.
Yeah.
Oh, fun stuff. Hose, you want to pick the winner for the giveaway? Hopefully they're still on this live chat because some people have left. So
Yeah.
if they're not on the live chat, I say you go again until you find somebody who is.
No, I will. We'll comment. We'll let you guys know if you won in the on your Twitter or on your tweet. We'll just reply back. We will go with. This is tough. All right, I'm just gonna pick. Here, how many comments?
Close to 10 comments in there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. Brandon, pick a number between 1 and 12.
3.
All right. The third commenter gets it. All right. Ian Winiger. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name, but congratulations. You just won 2 tickets to the UTEP game. I'll reply back on your tweet and then DM us, and we'll get your tickets to you.
Yes. Congrats, Ian.
Yeah, congrats. And
All
if
right.
you made it this far, I got to do my normal plug. Hit the subscribe button, like the video. We're going to be giving away more tickets as the game gets closer. So you definitely want to be checking out our videos that we've got coming up over the next, week and a half before the game starts. We're going to be doing like some pregame live stream as well on Saturday mornings. We won't be at the games, but we'll be doing some live streams from on here for everyone that can't make the game. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Also check out our monthly membership. If you'd like to support us, it's $4.99, a little more content, a little more access to us and talking more OU football. And be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, whenever you're on those platforms, be sure to follow us on there and leave us a review.
See you guys.
See ya.